guys, Courtney Houston here from the RI Media team, and if you're looking to catch some snook this weekend, you are in the right spot. We have our very own captain from the Southwest region in the house, my uncle, Ronnie Houston, and he's going to be teaching us all we need to know about catching snook. So before you go, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell below.
Tonight's species is the freight train of the inshore world, and I really love them because you can catch them on bait, artificials, and flies. They are also very angler friendly, and most people recognize them from their big mouth and the black line down their side. Tonight, it's all about the snook here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
This is the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We have a full audience here tonight, along with our friends from Garmin Marine and SiriusXM Marine. Rick, we're talking all about snook today, which is definitely a species you know a lot about.
You know, Brie, probably my second most favorite fish to the tarpon. But, you know, there's a lot of people, they don't know that I still guide on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and we got a few pictures here. Here's a picture of Ridge and I that we caught these fish on Monday while hosting the Garmin and SiriusXM Marine guys. Here we have Jeff with a nice big line-sider snook. We've caught in the last 5 trips, we've caught over 200 over 10 pounds.
That's
big
crazy.
Trout, and then we got the kids we took on Saturday. So, man, it's really some hot fishing going on in the Florida Keys region right now.
Definitely look like you know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a few years, I'd say.
I had a good teacher, the 2 Midnight Riders.
Oh, the Midnight
They told
Riders.
me, taught me everything about snook.
Everything you know. All right, well, I know firsthand snook, and in the backcountry is you and Ridge's thing, but let's see what is Dave's thing over at the CCA Workbench today.
I think we should all go learn from Ron Houston. That's what I think. We're all going to learn from the Midnight Rider. That's what we're going to do. He's going to be coming on and showing us how to do it.
Okay, well, say no more, Dave.
Boom,
and,
there he is.
Wow, that's like magic. We have a surprise with us in the house today, and who better than Captain Ronnie Houston from the Snook Mecca, Bell's Southwest region, reporting live. Good to have you in the studio,
Well,
Ron.
it's always a pleasure being here. Got the opportunity to come on down. I used to come down here all the time, but I guess Tommy Derringer looks a lot better than me now, so I don't get a chance to come on down.
It's only because he's the same height as Brie, or actually even a little taller.
I got you.
He's a little taller. Let's go with that. All right, Ronnie, let's get to your report. What do you say?
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do this, Ronnie. What do you got?
So, you know, snook, they can be caught both inshore and offshore throughout the region, but it is primarily targeted on the inshore side at beaches, passes, bridges, docks, and seawalls, mangrove shorelines. Structure, current, and bait all combined are a great place to start. Now, with all the rain we've had in the last couple of days, snook season opens on September 1st. So concentrate on your spillways, local canals with culverts, dumping water, or even current flowing through the bridges. You really don't need a boat. But I'll tell you what, live baits include mullet, pinfish, pilchards, herring, just to name a few. And you know, the artificials are endless. Top water walk the dog lures, spoons, subsurface hard bait 6 inches to 2 feet, flies, bucktails, etc. You know, spring through fall generally is the best time, but when winter's here, live shrimp is probably going to be the best. The #1 go-to around docks and seawalls. And you know what? Moving to the backcountry waters all through the region, your more brackish areas, fish tend to go up and they want to warm up. I've got a couple pictures here that are recent. I got a picture of a nice snook that was caught down in the southern end of the region, and a nice snook caught by a female up in the northern end of the region, like always fishing with the infamous Captain Danny Latham. Now still on the inshore side, Captain Danny Latham and Captain Corey McGuire both report the redfish bite has picked up considerably, with the fish now bunching up in schools. He said concentrate in the areas of Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, Pine Island Sound, and he specifically said from Pine Island Marina to Regular Key. Now also the Matlacha area. They said look for schools pushing water, especially on the calm winds. You can see these fish on top or on the lower stages of the tide, traveling the edges of the flats. On the higher stages of the tide, they're telling me these fish move up against the mangroves. You're going to want to need to use live pilchards, pinfish, also cut ladyfish and pinfish as the water heats up, also mullet. They also said gold spoons, bright color walk the dog lures, and subsurface baits that suspend anywhere from 6 to 18 inches. And I got a picture of a nice redfish that was just caught up in the northern end while fishing with Captain Danny Latham. And on the offshore side, the mangrove snappers. Captain Gordon McGuire to the north reports from Sanibel to Stump Pass. The bite still seems to be consistent for the last 3 weeks, and he's still telling me there's heavy concentrations of fish, some up to 6 pounds still. He says the best depths have been about the same in about 80 to 100 foot range, but he says wrecks, ledges, he says you got to chum heavy. He says no problem using box chum in bags as well as chunks of herring and pilchers have really worked the best. And then still on the offshore side, the last species is going to be the gag and the red grouper. Now what's odd here is Captain Corey McGuire has been catching fish up in the northern end from Sanibel to Stump Pass. He's telling me in the 80 to 95 foot range. But then they've been moving in a little shallower following the bait. But what's not to be odd is Captain Mike Avedon also says 80 to 100 foot. So all through the region, south and north, the key depths have been 80 to 100 foot. Both guys have been using live squid, live pinfish, drifting with bucktails, white and chartreuse, 4 to 8 ounce, depending upon the current. It's probably one of the better ways to locate the fish if you haven't done this before. Once you get in those areas and locate the fish, anchor up, try some cut baits to see if they're quality fish in the area. I got a nice picture of a gag caught with Captain Mike Avedon and a nice red up in the northern end with Captain Corey McGuire. Hot spots, keep an eye on them. We got watch the tropics. We got some weather coming in over the weekend. So if you don't get a chance to get out over the weekend due to the weather, get on out during the week. Once the storm passes, fishing should be great.
All right, thank you so much for coming over.
Thanks,
Ronnie. We're gonna take a look at the Caddy Can Southwest hotspots. Ronnie recommends that this weekend you're gonna go inshore, look for the juvenile tarpon, fish from Coon Key to Barron River in the feeder creeks that dump out into the middle of the bays due to the rain. And then offshore, Spanish mackerels fish from Marco to Sanibel beach line out 6 miles. And then look for the bait, the birds, the fish, wrecks, artificial reefs using spoons and bucktails are going to get to Spanny Mac.
I love having our captains in the studio. It's
Me
so
too.
special. All right, well, since we're still in the Bells region, Rick, we went fishing with our Bells contest winner, Dan, and I honestly had the best personal day of snook fishing I've ever had, and it was a blast.
We wrecked them.
We did.
We really did. We caught fish up to 40 inches. How many fish did they catch? 28 or something? Big snooks?
Yeah, I thought you said 38, but you know.
No, it was 38. Exactly. Because I remember we went through 50 pinfish doing it.
Yes, we did.
So,
ran out of bait.
And what a nice picture of the two of us, two fishing buddies.
It was fun. It was a good time.
All right.
All right, stop with the mush.
Okay.
It's enough.
That's
in the
over.
Fish Bites East region, the moon is late, which means opening season should be pretty good, weather permitting, of course. And we have Ed Zayak today filling in for Mike Holliday. Welcome back, Ed.
Thanks, y'all. Yeah, that's right. Typically, those snook, they seem to know exactly when September 1st hits, and they're gone. But this year, with the new moon pushing it back a little bit, there's still going to be good concentrations of snook around all the inlets, as well as on the beaches close to the inlets. The mullet have really been pushing down here for the last few weeks, so anywhere there's a good concentration of mullet in the Indian, St. Lucie, or Loxahatchee River, there's likely to be some snook nearby. And don't overlook the night fishing as well from Juneau Beach and Lake Worth Piers. They should have some big fish on them too. As we get closer to the new moon, we'll see some extremely high tides, and then typically that'll push those snook inshore, and I will start to look for those fish around the seawalls and docks within a mile or so of the inlet. Those fish being focused on mullet, it's a great time of year to throw my favorite topwater plugs, lip plugs, or, naturally flip them the real thing, a 4 to 10 inch live mullet works great too. But not all the best fishing happens during the day, so remember, take a look at the 25-cent bridge in Stewart, the A1A bridge in Jupiter, the Coast Guard station in Fort Pierce. They should produce a lot of fish after dark on feathers and live bait. The average snook right now is 6 to 18 pounds, and I have a photo here. This is Spencer, and that snook was caught in the Indian River with a topwater plug.
Whoa.
Nice.
All right.
Good one.
You're still
Moving
little.
on to tarpon.
Go ahead, Red. You sound great now, but you were muffled there for a minute.
Okay, moving on to tarpon. Right now, the Indian River is just covered up in mullet. And it seems like there's schools of mullet starting to stack up around the causeways and along the shorelines up and down the river. So places like the Turning Basin in Fort Pierce, Harbor Branch, the Moorings Channel, and of course Big and Little Mud Creeks will have tarpon waiting to blow up mullet schools right at first light. So you want to get an early start. I always get a couple mullet out behind the boat on circle hooks, get someone on the front casting a soft plastic at the rolling fish, and right now it's about 50-50 live bait artificial on the bites. On the beach, there's also mullet schools with minnow schools, and the tarpon are in them too. The problem is those schools are always moving, so you want to kind of check the beach accesses first. When you find the bait schools, I'm going to fish those with topwater plugs, a chartreuse swimming plug, or live or dead mullet. The average tarpon right now is 50 to about 100 pounds.
Sounding great, Ed. So let's talk about some offshore.
Yeah, it's nice to see there's still some summer dolphin around. Seems like we're getting a good push of dolphin to the area this week. There's not a ton of big fish, but there's a consistent group of fish in the 5 to 15 pound range. And these fish are spread out along the rips and weed lines in 80 to 220 feet of water. A lot of fish were caught this week under small turns that were diving. You want to cover a lot of water right now, so it's better to troll ballyhoo or skirt and strip, or even just some bright pink or blue feathers. Once you get bit, then we stop and chum a little bit, try to pick up a few more fish. And with the mullet run happening, this is a great time to throw the cast net and go out there with a live well full of mullet as well. Got a good picture here. This is Megan LaShawn. A nice dolphin she caught with her dad, Skip. They were in 120 feet of water, and that fish ate a live threadfin.
All right. What about some kingfish near the beach?
That's it. Kingfish right now. You can't go wrong fishing for those kings on the 6 and 8 mile reefs off of Jensen Beach or on the offshore bar in Fort Pierce. There's still some kings off of Palm Beach around the bait schools in about 60 feet of water, but the sharks have been really, really bad. It's almost hard to get a fish in. There's still fish on the beach in the Vero Cove and around the sand pile in Stewart. There's live bait is super plentiful. You can cast net up a bunch of mullet or work the beach and nearshore wrecks for thread fins, pilchards, or Spanish sardines. There's plenty of bait. You can slow troll that with a number 4 wire stinger rig or drift along with a 40-pound fluorocarbon 3-hook Palm Beach rig. Average king right now is 10 to 20 pounds.
Eddie, we talk about bass fishing every week. We got some rain, high water. So what do you think is going to be happening as far as the bass go, bud?
Yeah, really, the rain has been super beneficial for bass fishing at the Stick Marsh and Farm 13 Reservoir in Fellsmere, as well as the Fellsmere Water Management Area. All that water has to go somewhere, and when it comes rolling into these areas, it creates a lot of flowing water, which is cooler, and is sweeping a lot of bait fish along with it. So find the moving water, work it with lipless crankbait or 7-inch shad tail, rigged weedless. Alewife or bone diamond colors have been working best. Most bass have been in the 2 to 4 pound range. And there's also a good frog bite in the floating hydrilla in both lakes. So run a topwater plug or a toad across those potholes in the grass right at first light, and you'll get those big blow-ups. This bite is still super early, sunrise till about 9. After that, you're switching to live shiners around the pump stations. 15 to 20 bass is normal right now, and you can be all wrapped up by about 9:30.
All right, bub. Great report from the Fish Bites East Region. But now it's time to take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East Region inshore. Mangrove snappers around the jetty at Fort Pierce Inlet. Spanish sardines, sand perch, and juvenile pilchards on the slack tide for the inshore report. And then offshore, dolphins, sailfish, kingfish, and 90 to 120 feet of water straight off of the Loran Tower in Hobe Sound. Use live thread fins, Spanish sardines, or maybe you might want to troll a ballyhoo.
Troll that ballyhoo. Okay, we're checking in with our captain from the Casa Vieja Southeast region next. But first, let's check in with Dave and Ronnie Houston at the CSA workbench behind me for rigs and techniques.
Yeah, we're going to be doing it.
We're going to be doing that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about snooks.
Talking about snook. Looks like snook candy
He's
over
making
there.
my money tonight.
Cool. Good to have you, Ronnie.
It's always good to have a guy.
You got a job.
Hope you have my 50%
We'll be back.
before I start talking.
Exactly.
Oh, we're talking numbers. Talking
The Florida
numbers.
Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. Sirius XM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
So we're here at the CCA workbench, and we're going to talk about the Academy Outdoors rigs and techniques. And we brought in our snook specialists.
Correct.
Somebody who really understands how to catch a snook in tannic water or anywhere.
Right.
So Ronnie, let's just get right into it.
Well, you know, obviously there's a variety of ways you can catch these fish. Like Rick said in the beginning of the show, he's using live pinfish. So simply a circle hook, whether it be a 4-0, a 3-0, a 5-0. But when you're using the big live baits or the pilchards and the herring, you want to, you know, 40's a minimum. I wouldn't chance it. I'm sure the fish he's catching, it's 50 to 60 pound leaders. So basically your live baits, your circle hooks, and your 40 to 60 pound leaders. But what I enjoy doing is I like searching for them. So here we go. That's a Akuma Epic Sur. It's a 4,000. It's a $70 reel. It's a light reel on a medium heavy 7-foot rod. I can cast this rod all day long, all day long, all day long. What I like about it is I can cover water, but also by using the top water, it's my favorite, it's a search bait. So if the fish doesn't take it, he blows up there. Immediately what I do is I put the power poles down and I fan cast. Because normally where you find one snook, there's gonna be more. So me, I throw top waters all day. Now when it comes to fishing for the bigger snooks or tight structure, there's no reel that I feel to be any better in a 4,000 series that's not made to cast lures all day, but when you're fishing tight to structure, points, docks, and bridges, that 4,000 on a Ricky Red 20 to 30 pound rod. But if you look at this artificial bait I got, that's a die dapper. I've got 80 pound leader on that die dapper. So that tells you you want to use a little heavier rod with a little heavier reel with better drag. Now when it comes to baits, I mean, like I say, it's endless. Yes, I love the top waters. You know, searching and catching baits in the clean water before we get the rains, your chartreuse, your bones, and stuff like that. If the fish hits the top water and misses it, what am I going to do? I'm going to come back with any of these subsurface baits, whether it's Miradine, whether it's Sabile, something that goes from 6 inches to 2 foot to see if the fish reacts better on a subsurface bait. If not, I might go to a soft plastic, depending upon the color of the water. If the finger mullets are around, I might go to a salty snack by Bass Assassin. I might have to go down to a 4-inch bait. So depending upon what baits are in the water, I try to match the hatch with water clarity and time of year, depending upon what I'm going to use. Now also, there's another bait that's out on the market, which is a no-brainer. You can use this. It's basically a live pilchard.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. You throw it out and reel it in. If you look at the top of the head on that, things have happened.
That's a live target, by the way. That's
yeah,
live target.
Your paddle tail baits, any of these paddle tail baits, what do, Rick? You just throw them out and do what?
Reel back.
Reel them in. The vibration of that tail is going to trigger the bite for that fish. A good hook, a good jig head is very important. So once the fish eats the bait, you want to have a good strong hook. A lot of the hard plastics baits that we use, they come with a sort of stock bass bait. Most of these baits are for bass. Upgrade your split rings. Upgrade your treble hooks. Me, I'm a big artificial guy. 90% of the time, I'm throwing artificials. And when the bite's on, there's no better way to entice a fish and catch a fish, bring them to the boat. It's much more satisfying and gratifying to me than people have their preference and just sitting somewhere, anchored up, tossing out baits. I like to cover water and always find new areas of fish.
Are there certain tides that you'll go from a live bait to a dead bait, or I mean from an artificial lure to live baits, or is it just a personal preference?
Well, generally, whether it's live bait, cut bait, artificials, you're always going to want to have that moving water. One of the things about me is on the west coast of Florida, if you've noticed over the years, a lot of people like to fish comfortable. They like to get within casting range of the mangroves. I don't like doing that. I like the water to be away from the mangroves, and that's why I throw the top waters on like 20-pound braid, because I can fling that almost a half a spool. I can be 3 or 4 casting lengths away from the shorelines. I might be sitting in 12 inches of water, but the lure's going to land in 5 to 6 inches of water, and I'm going to work the water column all the way out to me. So basically, for me, it's water movement. It doesn't matter if it's outgoing or incoming. I like the medium tides. Once that water gets up, then fish get too close to the structure. Now you're playing a game where, okay, if you hook a fish, you better be on it and know how to get him out from the structure. So, I will give you one tip.
So that's why you like to be out from the mangroves so they don't run in there.
Whenever I'm running trips, most people say to me, why aren't you up against the mangroves? Because I said, I'm fishing the tides where they're away. That way your chances are a lot better when you hook a fish to get them out away from there into the boat. But a little tip I will give you, and you can practice this at home. You ever get hit by a snook and he's a good sized fish, he's running towards a dock, a tree, a piling, chances are if you don't slow that fish down, he's going to get in there and break you off. One thing I learned a long time ago was when you put that upward pressure on a fish, his tendency is to pull down, and he's going to keep going. If you've got a fish running towards a dock piling, one of the best things you can do, bring your rod down. If you want him to come to the left, bring the rod down. That's bottom pressure on him. That fish is going to turn away. You want him to come to the right, do the same thing. When you're at home, if you don't believe me, you got a dog, you're playing around in the living room, pull on his bottom jaw, make him go to the left, he's going to go right to it. Pull up, he's going to pull away from you.
Dave, get my wallet out of my bag.
I'm telling you, that was beautiful.
Man, we just need to pay it.
That's good stuff over there, guys.
It was good stuff. Not enough
good job,
time.
Ronnie. He's a snookologist if I've ever seen one. All right, don't forget, if you want to see more Dave and Rick and Ronnie Houston at the Workbench, check out our YouTube page. All right, now you can be pretty successful in the Casa Vieja Southeast region, and Captain Jimbo Thomas is on the line to coach us through. Let's hear it, Jimbo.
Hey, Rick, Ree, and Dave. And Ron, I'm a big live bait guy. So, we've got a couple of more days here to scout and do some catch and release snook fishing until that season opens on September 1st. And here in the Southeast region, snook are definitely one of the most popular inshore fish that are sought after. They can be found in just about any body of water, and there's probably as many snook caught from shore as by boat. Now, we've got all the lift bridges and docks of the Intercoastal Waterway. Those are great places to look for snook, as well as any of the inlets, creeks, mangrove shorelines, off the beaches, and also in a lot of the freshwater lakes and canals. Now, popular baits are live shrimp, live mullet, pinfish, pilchards, croakers, bucktail jigs, soft plastic, swimming plugs, and jerk baits. And basic snook tackle for us down here is medium to heavy spin or plug casting outfit with 12 to 30-pound braid or mono. And you want to use anywhere from 30 to 50-pound fluorocarbon or mono leader. And when we're using live bait, you want to use a circle hook since we are releasing a lot of these fish. Now, lately, all of the inlets have been snook fishing hot spots. You want to fish your live baits on a Jupiter rig, so it's going to be down near the bottom. Or you can put that live bait on a 1/2 to 3/4 ounce jig head, or bounce jigs with soft plastics along the bottom, troll rapalas, throw top water plugs like Ron was talking about. And most of this fishing is going to take place in the evenings on any tide, just so long as that water is moving. And then up in the north end of the region from Boca to Lake Worth Inlet, and also further south, but it's better up in the north end, snook are being found first thing in the morning as they cruise those deeper troughs that run parallel to the beach, and you can sight fish those snook with both live and artificial baits. Now, I got a photo here. This is my wife Jane and myself with an overslot snook that we caught with yours truly, Captain Rick Murphy, and his lovely wife Kathy last week.
Yeah, man, we had a fun day. We did. We had
Double date,
Dion's
huh?
chicken and lots of snook and permit and getting hooks out of Jimbo's thumb.
All kinds of good stuff.
Jimbo got hooked?
He got hooked.
Oh, no.
You know, staying inshore, and we got peacock bass, and depending on what this storm does, peacock bass might be our only option to go fishing this weekend. And with this hot, rainy weather that we've been experiencing, it's gotten those peacock bass really fired up. Now, these peacocks are being found in all the local lakes and canals of Dade and South Broward counties, and they're biting small live minnows and shiners, Rapala shad wraps and chartreuse, quarter-ounce jigs, and soft plastics. You want to use some dark colors. And if you're looking to catch one on fly tackle, try using a small Clouser minnow fly in red and white or green and white. Look for these peacocks to bite best in the middle of the day, and look for areas with clear water that has some current around some structures such as the spillways, bridge columns, and any other structure. Now, moving offshore, dolphin fishing in the past week has been as good as we've seen this whole season. Now, most of these fish are being caught on and around floating debris, and the bulk of the stuff that is floating has been roughly 8 to 10 miles offshore. Now, down in the Miami area, there's been a nice rip and weed line formed in that 8 to 12 mile range that's been holding sargassum and those floaters. And as you get further north, that rip and weed line seems to angle offshore. Now, these fish are eating trolled baits and lures. Once we locate those fish, we've been pitching live and cut baits to them. And most of the fish have been decent-sized schoolies in the 6 to 8 pound range, and there have been quite a few fish in the 15 to 20 pound range also caught. Got another photo, and this is some of the fish that we're starting to see, this nice-sized cow. So starting to see some bigger ones, and hopefully they keep going. And then we got snapper, nighttime snapper bites still going on very good. There's still plenty of mangroves in the 2 to 5 pound range, along with a mixture of yellowtails and muttons. And any good reef bottom in 40 to 80 feet of water, that's been holding these fish. You don't want to anchor on top of the reef, but instead fish those outside edges of the reef where there's less coral to hang your anchor and your tackle up on. You want to fish with a knocker rig using just enough weight to hold bottom. Use a 1/0 to 3/0 hook and 30 to 40 pound mono or fluoro leaders. The best baits have been cut bonita and sardines, or live pilchers and goggle eyes. And if you got some lights on the boats, those goggle eyes and pilchers have been showing up in the lights. You can drop an R&R sabiki down, get some live baits, put them in the well, fire them back down for bait. Most of those larger fish have been caught on the live baits, and the best bite's been starting around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the evening.
All right, Jimbo, thank you so much. We're going to have to go fishing again soon.
I'm ready.
And, all right, bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the R&R tackle hotspots from the southeast region. Jimbo says inshore, look for the snook in the inlets and around the jetties and off the beaches in the late afternoon and evenings using live and artificial baits. Then offshore, try to have some live baits in the well and then have some cut bait ready and head 8 to 12 miles offshore in search of weed lines, floating debris, and those would be the things that are holding those dolphin, Brie.
Holding those dolphin. Well, we have an awesome studio audience in here tonight, and 2 lucky winners from our raffle are going to get a $50 gift card from Academy Sports.
How about that?
That is pretty cool.
The sponsor of the Rigs and Technique.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
So good luck to all of you. All right, Rick, good news and some not the best news.
What's that?
What do you want first?
I want good first.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you the not so good.
Okay.
Last week, CCA
Thanks for the
Star
tips.
had an iHeartRadio tagged redfish caught in Palm Beach County by an unregistered angler, and he released that fish with a tag intact. It's cool you caught it, but you weren't registered. But on Sunday, a registered angler caught a tagged redfish in Charlotte County, and he's going through the verification process as we speak, so Star may have winner number 3, which is very exciting. That's the good news. All right, remember, every fish you catch could win you prizes, but you have to be registered, and there's still time to win. Star doesn't end until Labor Day, so enter your legal Snook for a chance to win a new Piranha boat motor and trailer package or a trip with our Southwest Region Captain, Ronnie Houston. Get registered at ccafloridastar.com. All right, the Carmen Keys and Startron Central West regions are calling our names next. Plus, we're talking about something exciting coming to a screen near you with our friends from Garmin Marine and SiriusXM Marine, so stay hooked, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Kubota, find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and there's no place I'd rather be. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and time don't matter to me, 'cause I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere.
Welcome back, and joining me is Jeff Leach from SiriusXM Marine and John Spittle from Garmin Marine. You know, Jeff, we have introduced and teased our audience a few weeks ago with fish mapping. So why don't you tell us, is it up and running? Is it ready to go?
It is. Fish mapping is officially here. And so fish mapping includes 8 different fish mapping specific features. We have things like fishing recommendations. So you can actually see on your chart plotter various species that are recommended in the area. We're showing weed lines out there. We're showing plankton out there. Upwellings, so where that nutrient-rich water comes up, and downwellings. That's some of the key features.
So John, how is Garmin involved in this relationship?
So we at Garmin are really proud. You can only find these features on a Garmin unit. So you're going to go ahead and purchase a new antenna. That's going to get you the Sirius XM fish mapping features, along with our Garmin GPS map series and the most current version of our software. And under the chart tab, you'll be able to see the fish mapping features right on the screen itself. With that antenna, we also offer a $100 rebate when you purchase the antenna itself. And then also, you're going to get a rebate if you have an older Garmin Sirius XM antenna. You can send that in and get $150 back.
So Jeff, I got a question for you. Does this service offer the traditional Sirius XM Marine features that we've had?
Absolutely. So this is really a superset, if you will. So this includes all of our offshore weather, as well as those 8 features.
So it includes marine zones, sea surface temperatures, buoy reports,
weather radar,
wind and wave heights, all of the cool stuff.
All of it.
All my favorite things. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Now, more importantly, if somebody's interested in buying it, Jeff, where do they go?
SiriusXM.com/fish mapping. And keep in mind, too, Rick, that there's a 1-month trial going on right now. So take advantage of that.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Well, Brie, we do have another region to go to, so where are we going next?
Yes, we absolutely do. Okay, well, let's stay with our Garmin theme and chat with our Garmin Keys region captain, Randy Tao, who has the Snook bite down pat. Let's hear it, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Garmin Keys region, the snook fishing has been excellent. You've heard me talk about it for several weeks now, and it's still good. Now, you might have a day where the wind's blowing out of the west and it's not such a good day to catch snook, but the next day could be out of the east and the snook are biting. So kind of day in, day out, it's been good. And a lot of the guys fish the backcountry around the Flamingo area, around some of the mangrove islands, and some of the guys like to get up on top of the flats and pole around and sight cast. And there's been some pretty good sight fishing, and some of these guys are catching some big snook up on the flats over slot size, which would be over 33 inches, and doing that with artificials. Now, I like to fish the shorelines. I like the deeper water, and I use live pinfish or pilchards, depending on what's easiest to get. And I fish them on a jig head, like a 1/4 ounce to a 3/8 ounce, 1/2 ounce, whatever the depth of water you might be in to get it to the bottom. And a lot of the fishing is tide related. So if you like an incoming tide for a certain spot, shoreline, you know, you're going to want to hit it at the right time. If you miss that window, sometimes the bite isn't as good. You might have another spot where it's a falling tide. So read your conditions, read your tides, and make sure it's what you want in your spot for best results. And that timing, again, is key to be in that right place at the right time. And a lot of these fish right now are been on the bigger side, so it's been really nice to see some of these big snook being caught. And of course, we're out of season, so they're all getting released. And I have a photo from with Mark Granville Smith from Virginia with a big backcountry snook, and he was fishing with Johnny Johansson out of Bud Mary's.
All right, what else you got in store for us, Bub?
The tarpon fishing, you know, we talked about the small tarpon, and we talked about bigger tarpons being in the channels and some of the shorelines. Now, depending on what you want to do, if you want to try artificial, if you want to catch them on a fly rod, if you want to catch them on bait, there's several ways to do it. But again, I'm talking about that timing. You know, it's a ticking clock. In the morning when that sun comes up and you're in the right place, you've got a couple hours to get on these fish and do what you want to do. And as the day warms up and the sun comes up and it gets hotter, you know, it's going to slow things down. So this time of year, we don't have really good tarpon fishing throughout the entire day. We're going to have it in spurts, whether it's in the morning or late in the afternoon. We get a lot of afternoon thunderstorms in the backcountry this time of year. It cools the water off, and sometimes the tarpon fishing can be really good late in the day. And a lot of the channels right now that you're going to run through, or shorelines, just look for fish jumping or busting, and that's going to be a key sign there's some fish in the area. I've got a photo of John from Texas fishing with Richard Stanzik out of Bud Mary's with his backcountry tarpon. He's also fishing out of his new 25-foot Contender Bay boat.
All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
Yellowtails. You know, Rick, I have a really good thing with yellowtails. We're tight, but they've just not been behaving the way I would like them to. You know, we've got plenty of fish. We have a shark problem at times. You know, depending on where you fish, Key Largo, Islamorada, Marathon, it's all going to be different. You're going to have different conditions. You're going to have fish behaving differently. But if you're in 70 to 100 feet of water and you've got some current, you're probably going to have yellowtails come up. Now, the key is to be patient, because a lot of times you see them and you put 2 or 3 lines in, and what'll happen is you'll push the fish down. You'll actually push them further back. So you want to have patience. You want to fish one rod at a time and try to keep those fish close to the boat. And you can do that. Just chum steady and be patient, and you're going to get the job done. I've got a photo of Captain George Campbell with his yellowtail, and this is what he does best.
All right, one more to go, bub.
Dolphin. Here we are in August, almost September, and the dolphin fishing is still really good. A lot of big fish offshore, a lot of guys fishing the big weed patches. They'll stop to catch bait, and while they're catching bait, the dolphin will swim up to the boat, and they've been catching some really nice dolphin like that. They've been on birds, they've been on debris, and I've got a picture from Captain Pablo Rodriguez with Slam Time Charters at a Marathon with his angler, Ricky Carmichael, with his big dolphin in his 25-foot bay boat.
Ricky Carmichael, the Ricky Carmichael. Just beat that. How about that? Wearing his monster hat and probably did a wheelie on into the Pablo's contender. All right, great report this week, Randy. Thank you so much. We're going to go and take a look at your recommended hotspots. He says inshore, snook. Fish the flats early while the water temperatures are cooler, and then fish deeper edges in the middle of the bay. And then offshore, dolphins. Start looking in 400 feet of water around the weeds, the birds, and all the debris. Live bait is key, and be on the lookout for the bigger fish mixed in with the schoolies. Look down deep, dudes.
All right, let's take a look at some tournaments coming up in the Garmin Keys region, shall we?
We should.
We shall. This Saturday is the last day of the 2019 Key West Fishing Tournament. Catches and witnessed releases can be entered at several tackle shops throughout the Lower Keys and Key West, or at the tournament's website. The Marathon International Bonefish Tournament is set for September 12th through the 15th. The competition recognizes individual and team champions scoring the largest releases of bonefish and permit, and top anglers in fly and Grand Slam divisions. The Herman Lucerne Memorial Backcountry Fishing Championship is set for September 20th through the 22nd in Islamorada. It raises funds to support angler-oriented initiatives in Everglades National Park and Florida Bay. The Key Largo Rotaries Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge is set for September 27th through the 29th and focuses on catch and release fishing for snook, redfish, and trout. Information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys is available at flakeys.com. There's some good tournaments coming up, I say.
Man,
all right,
so.
Let's swiftly move on into the StarTron Central West region. Swiftly, where we have Captain Jeff Page on FaceTime. Let's talk about some snook. Jeffrey?
Yes, ma'am. I saw while that camera was panning out in the audience, I saw those midnight riders out there in the audience. Those are a couple real snook fishermen.
You're right.
Of course.
So what do you got this week for us, Paige?
Well, you know, this time of year, Rick, probably the best pattern to catch snook in our region is work the passes, inlets, and along the beaches down all the miles of beach shorelines that we have. Any down trees, any rock piles, anything that sticks out off the beach is going to hold snook. Live filters, thread fins, pinfish, grunts, even free-line shrimp work real well. And they can also be rigged on a Carolina rig too with a little slide weight. The cool thing about all that stuff I just named is you don't need a boat to do any of it. You can fish most of our beaches and inlets by land. Now, as we get into the fall and winter months and the water temperatures start to drop down and cool off, look for the snooks to start pushing up into the bays and back estuaries and also creeks and rivers. All the backcountry of Charlotte Harbor, as well as the Peace and Mayaca River, are great places to fish for snook during the cooler months. And then as you work your way north, Shackett Creek, Lemon Bay, Philippi Creek, Bowleys Creek, Manatee River are also great wintertime spots. A lot of lures that work real well, variety of soft plastics like the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad and dye dapper. Also the 5-inch jerkbait, and you can rig those on a weighted weedless hook as well as a jig head. Topwater plugs like the Rapala Skitter Walk or the Live Target Scaled Sardine work real well. And you know what, Rick? I remember when we did a show last winter and the water temperature was down near 50 degrees, and a lot of people say you can't catch snook. But I beg to differ because we caught them that day.
Yeah, we caught them. We caught Friday.
And I've got a couple photos tonight. First one of two of our local captains, Captain Jeremy Rozonka and Captain Will Osborne, with a couple of chunks.
Nice.
And I've got a nighttime photo of Dr. William Sosha with a big snook he got with the mad snooker, Captain Dave Parmalu. Staying inshore, Rick, the red fishing continues to improve each week. As we're getting into September, more and more schools are showing up. Captain Brock Horner from down in Charlotte Harbor reports 2 or 3 big schools he's got around the Placida Harbor area. And then over on the east side of the harbor from Burnt Store, south to Two Pines, there's a couple nice groups of fish. And then my friend Captain Dave Monda reports he's been catching single fish around the mangrove islands of Lemon Bay on the higher stages of the tide, using chunks of ladyfish up under the bushes. And then down in South Tampa Bay, Captain Mike Gore reports some really nice fish moving into the flats of the Fort DeSoto area. He's been using live free-line pilchards and pinfish. My redfish photo tonight is again of Captain Will Osborne and his girlfriend, Miss Ashley Wiggins. And you see who caught the bigger redfish.
Yeah, of course. All right, Bub, what do you got for us?
That's how it always works.
That's it. Let's go offshore. Tell me how that works.
Red grouper, Captain Tim No, he's starting to slow down, but his last 2 weeks on the flying fish fleet has been awesome for red groupers, and he's been catching them, Rick, in as close as 75 feet of water off New Pass north of St. Pete, and he's been getting his limit of red groupers and some nice mango snappers mixed in as well, using a mixture of live pinfish, frozen sardines. And I've got a photo tonight of a real happy family that was on the flying fish with Captain Tim, all of them with red groupers. My last species tonight, blackfin tuna. Captain Jason Stock has been doing real well on the blackfins, going out 20 to 30 miles. And what he's been doing, Rick, looking for birds, looking for bait, even weed lines. And then he fires them up by chumming out some small pilchards. The blackfins are averaging 8 to 20 pounds. My last photo tonight is with Captain Jason and a happy client of Full Send Charters with a big blackfin. And I just want to close tonight by saying let's all do our homework this weekend, have a good Labor Day weekend, but be on the watch for the approaching weather that we got coming.
Good advice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Captain Page. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck, hot spots from the Central West region. He says inshore, big-time snook bites going off of Venice jetties, excuse me, on the nighttime outgoing tide. Use live ladyfish or silver mullet rigged on a knocker rig. And then offshore, nice red groupers holding on the hard bottom areas as close as 75 feet of water. Live pinfish and frozen sardines on a standard bottom rig are going to work for those too.
We got to get you some water.
Man, I'm
We're
getting
gonna do
all
fine.
choked up
You
about
are.
those big snook pictures.
Yes, you are. All right, coming right up is our Discover Crystal River Northwest Region Captain, but coming up first is some new product action at the CCA Workbench with Dave Farrell. Dave.
Yeah, you ever use a live snake for bait?
No.
No, it's about as close as I would get, this little jugger right here. We're going to talk about
we
some
got
new
some
products.
snakes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a
We got
snake.
some clothes. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. Okuma, Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
do you aim a 36-yard shot with a 30-yard fixed pin at a 15-degree angle with a 7-inch holdover without moving a single pin? Easy. You get one of these. Zero, the auto-ranging digital bow sight from Garmin.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and Dave, we're talking about new products. We've got some new Real Legend stuff from Bell's.
Yes, we do. And this is a really cool first new product we have here. This is their brand new rain jacket. You know, here in Florida, as we're going to experience this weekend, we always have to worry about the rain.
Yes.
We're going to be getting quite a bit of it. And this thing is completely waterproof. You know, a lot of the rain gear today is water resistant, which is not really rain gear. It's pretty much moist gear. But this is completely waterproof. It's got a nice waterproof zipper on it. And as you can see, it's got a nice lining inside. Very nice garment. Very lightweight, which is, again, great for Florida. You know, if you're going to have rain gear in Florida, it has to be pretty light.
Right.
Otherwise, you're turning yourself into you're going to be all troubled up there, buddy.
No.
You're going to be, anyway.
I like it.
Yeah, it's got a nice hood with its adjustable hood as well.
You know why I like it?
Good deep pockets inside and out.
I like it because it's red.
It is red. It's
my
Mickey
favorite.
red. It is true. All right. And now I like these a lot because these are their new mackerel pant right here. It's a shorts and pants. You can zip off the legs and turn them into a pair of shorts, which, you know, is a great thing for Florida as well, because, you know, you're always going from one extreme to the other. It's got a really nice waistband that's elastic, which, you know, I appreciate. The fellas, you know, like myself, who need a little stretch. It's got belt buckles as well, because for some reason, the bigger you get, the lower your pants go, and you got to have a belt now. Even yeah. So that's what the belt's for.
Well, these are your size, Dave.
Yeah,
these
full
are
elastic. You know, utility pockets,
2X.
UPF 30 as well. So I'm not a 2X yet. That's
Not yet?
Yeah, we're
You're
not
working
there
on
yet.
it,
I'm
though.
trying.
All right. So what do we got?
This is the new free line. It's got a whole full face neck shield.
Nice.
And face in there. It's very. It's got vents on the sides, all the way down the sides, keep you nice and cool. It's got the really nice neckline. Obviously, you got your Real Legends logo on the front. Looks really nice. And
I like
it's very light.
Feel and the material.
Exactly. It feels very, very light. And again, it's quick dry, vented, great for fishing. Real quick here, the last one is the same kind of shirt. It's the free line again, but this has got the nice Snook pattern on it. He's missing a head down there, but he looks pretty good otherwise. I don't know why they did that, but I like it. It looks pretty nice. And again, it's very cool. I like white shirts, especially in Florida again, because the white keeps you cool. It's just physics. You know,
Physics.
White is
Physics
white is right
and-
when you're wearing a shirt, because any type of color absorbs heat.
Physics when it comes to apparel.
Exactly. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, watch out for that snake. This is the Savage Gear 3D
Savage.
snake. You know, it's made for bass fishing, really. You know, if you're getting a bite from a bass on that thing, it's got to be a pretty good sized bass.
So Dave,
you know, the Savage Gear guys make a lot of different stuff, the little ducks and bats and all these little weird stuff, but the snakes are really cool. And that thing has 2 different positions that you can tie to. You can either wake it across the surface, or it's got that little lip down there that you can tie down there and get him to go underneath the water a little bit. He's 8 inches and weighs about an ounce. And, you know, it's just really great action when you go, if you go out to savagegear.com and go online and watch it. I actually have it on a YouTube channel. It's the thing really snakes through the water, and you know, if you drag it over the right bass, he's going to eat that.
So how well do you know your snakes? What snake are they imitating?
I don't know which one that is.
This would be a little copperhead.
Is that what that is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know about my snakes.
If you say so. Real quick here, we've got this is the X. We were talking about it the last time when we had the little steel shads on. This is the XXL series. They made these for saltwater. You can troll these things outside for dolphin, and probably a wahoo would eat that thing. But again, you could also troll it for striped bass in the St. Johns River, or big redfish, you know, in the river will eat those things.
It's heavy enough also for the amberjacks. They've got
Correct.
good hooks,
Correct.
jigging, as well as probably.
It's made out of stainless steel too, you know. So you go to steelshad.com. They make all different sizes, from little wee little bitty ones to that big XXL.
I'm glad you did something tonight over here at the workbench.
He did physics, Rick.
He had physics.
He did physics.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do.
And he gave me a new red jacket.
He did. Rick's taking that red jacket
That's
home.
very
It's his favorite
nice.
color, if you don't know right now. Okay, as you know, college football season is here, and our friends at Proshek Smokehouse have got you covered for all your tailgates. From now until Labor Day, you can sign up for this awesome meat package giveaway by going to proshex.com/TIFR. All right, the Discover Crystal River Northwest region has a snooktacular bite going on, and Captain Jeff Hageman is just the guy we want to talk to about it. So Hagelicious, take it away.
Snook, we've got them throughout my lower half of the region, from about Cedar Key, is about as north as they get for targeting them. We do get some that are a little north of that, but for targeting them, it's about Cedar Key south. Snook are very tidal, meaning they like moving water and water flow. They like to sit in places with a constant supply of food that's going to be brought to them. They're an ambush predator. So targeted snook, keep that in mind. Fishing points, creek mouths, river mouths, sandbars, passes, and any kind of structure that's got good water flow. Piers, jetties, docks, bridges, and rock piles are also a good place for snook in my region. And as far as live baits go, live shrimp, sardines, pinfish are favors. And as far as artificial baits go, jigs, jerk baits, and when I say jigs, soft plastics and bucktails, top water plugs, lip plugs, walked out dog style lures that imitate any kind of sardine or mullet work best in our region. Snook also have really great eyesight and gill rakers, so they can slice through a leader. So a good fluorocarbon leader is a must, 25, 40 pound. I've been using circle hooks lately when I'm live bait fishing, and I'm able to get away with a little bit lighter leader because that circle hook usually gets them in the corner of the mouth and keeps it away from those gill rakers and that abrasion they've got in their mouth. So keep that in mind. That's a little helpful tip. Go downsize your leader if you use a little bit bigger circle hook, and it'll hook them in the mouth, and you can get away if they get picky with the bite. And snooker can also be enticed in my region by chumming. We do a lot of chumming in my region with live sardines. We use a chum bat and toss out some freebies. And if you got good current flow, you can get them in a feeding frenzy, and you can actually see where the fish are busting at, either down the shoreline from you or down the pass from you, and you can move or cast, adjust that, and catch some more fish like that. It's another little tip, and it's also a great way to get them going, get some blood pumping. And I've got a great photo of a West Coast snook turned in from one of our watchers.
Nice.
Nice. And feet.
Yeah. Staying inshore, Captain Jimbo Keith with Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters from Cedar Key reports the redfish bite has really picked up and it's turning on this week around the outer islands. The bite's been both good on the incoming and outgoing tide. He says fishing mullet schools and fishing mullet cut on the bottom has been really good in producing some quality fish. Moving up the top of our region, Captain JB with JB Charters out of Apalachicola says the redfish bite has been in the bay right now, and fishing around the marshes and oyster bars with live mullet and pinfish. He uses a Carolina rig with a 12 to 14 inch fluorocarbon leader, 30-pound test, and a 2-aught hook. And I've got a couple redfish photos from both JB and Jimbo.
Nice.
Pretty
Look at those
stuff.
Fish right there.
Those pretty goldfish. Look nice. All right, what else you got for us, Hagalicious?
My offshore report's pretty much the same as last week.
The gag grouper bite's been really good in the entire region. The middle grounds have been especially good the last week on the outer edge of it in that deeper water. I hold lots of fish, and I preach this a lot. Always when fishing, grouper fishing, start off with that dead bait. Frozen sardines, frozen mackerel, octopus, squid are all great baits. When that bite slows down, drop down that live bait, and you'll get those pickety fish to eat. Bottom rig, 100-pound fluorocarbon leader, 7/0 circle hook, 8 ounces of lead, and I've got a great gag grouper photo right here. That's a nice rusty belly.
Ooh,
He looks happy.
All right, one more to go, babe. What you got?
Mangrove snapper in the entire region over any high relief structure right now from 20 feet to 70 feet of water. Knocker rigs with light leader have been the trick to get these finicky guys to bite right now. 4 to 6 feet of 20 to 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, a 1/2 ounce to 2 ounces of egg sinker with a 2/0 to 3/0 circle hook. And right now, as far as baits go, live shrimp, live sardines, dead sardines, and any kind of little small pinfish or front has been working the best.
Thank you so much, Hag. Great report from the Crystal River, Northwest region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Anytime sunscreen and mosquito repellent. Hotspot, he says, inshore redfish bite is on the top of the tide. The cut bait has been the most effective fished around the oyster bars. And then offshore, gag grouper bite has been good in 70 to 120 feet of water over the rock piles and ledges. And you might want to use a hand-sized pinfish for the bait.
Speaking of Anytime, we know the sun and the mosquitoes don't end with summer here in Florida, but Anytime Sunscreen No Bite No Burn is having an end of summer mosquito repellent sale. So go to Amazon.com/anytime from now through Labor Day to get stocked up and stop the swat. There we go.
All right.
Hashtag stop the swat.
All right.
I'll get behind that. Okay.
Hashtag
You got it. You're good. You're doing good. All right. We've got our Yeti Panhandle and Strike Zone Northeast Region captains on deck. But before we take a break, we want to announce that if you missed any of our today's show or want to rewatch any reports and segments, we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel from now on every Thursday, as well as posting new content every week. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check us out on Instagram. We'll be right back.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala, another great day. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Oh, there it is. You can either stay busy fishing or get busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Find Florida's soul and discover Crystal River. Explore warm Gulf waters, spring-fed rivers, bountiful lakes, and fantastic fishing. Dive into adventure and enjoy the only place in the world where you can swim with the manatees. Treat yourself and your family to outdoor fun, rich history, and a relaxed coastal lifestyle. Discover Crystal River, Florida.
Welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Okay, Rick, Casa Vieja, here we come, and we hope you will be joining us. Listen up, because Harbor Trucks has partnered with Casa Vieja Lodge to send 2 lucky winners to Guatemala for a 4-day, 3-night trip to fish with Rick and me at Casa Vieja. All you have to do is to enter is head to our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com. That is going to be such a fun trip. I can't wait to find out who's going.
We got to book the trip.
He's so excited.
I just thought of it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
we got to book that
I'm
trip,
going to be there
right?
3 times between Halloween and Thanksgiving, and I'm like, when am I going to squeeze in a 4th one?
Oh, I'm sorry for you. All right, it's Labor Day weekend, and hopefully you'll be laboring over some caught fish in the Yeti Panhandle region thanks to Captain Pat Deneen. So, Pat, tell us what we're in for.
Hey, wait a minute. I want to go to Casa Vieja, too.
Right? Well, there's 4 chances you have to go with Rick.
I'll tell you what, very few snook are caught in the Florida Panhandle, but we do catch plenty of redfish this time of year. And Captain Chuck Kemper fishes the center of the sound every day between Navarre and Gulf Breeze, and he reports huge schools of mullet. And within those schools of mullet, redfish are mixed in. And unlike the redfish that are typically caught over there in the residential docks, these fish are open water. They readily take artificials. They don't have the ponds to break you off on. It's been some pretty good fishing. So ease around those schools of mullet and either sight cast with the redfish, mill them with the mullet, or make long casts with a Rapala topwater or a Bass Assassin paddle tail on an 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce jig head. If the bigger redfish are what you want, head to the big bridges spanning the middle parts of the Panhandle bays and mark the fish on the pilings. The bridges are holding plenty of bait this time of year. The reds are pushing the fish up to the top. And if you're not going to see them on the top, use your electronics to find them down deep. Redfish, the bridge redfish are running 30 to 38 inches. There's a photo of my anglers from Alabama. They got a fish that we're about to release, and there's another one on the line. So, I mean, it's multiple hookup time of the year. In addition to the redfish on the grass flats, the trout fishing is starting to pick up in the Panhandle bays. Fish the shallow 3 to 8 foot spotty bottom grass flats early in the morning and work out to the deeper edges mid-morning and in the afternoon. Just like the redfish, look for those big schools of mullet. Those are indicators of great areas to fish. Use topwater baits early at first light, transitioning to midwater baits as you work into the deeper flats. Another valid approach for targeting those speckled trout in the Panhandle right now is to fish after dark, targeting the dock lights. Nighttime, the key is live bait with shrimp, pilchards, spot minnows, and croakers, all being excellent baits. Use light leaders and free line your baits along the edges of the light. And then moving offshore, the mingo snapper fishing has been really consistent for filling your cooler with some really good eating fish. Captain Drew Fusco of Gulf Coast Anglers and Destin had some really good catches this past week. And some of the mingos he's been catching have been on the large size. Use a 2-hook chicken rig baited with cut squid or minnows, or break out your cracker cast net, load up on some small pilchards or herrings. There's a bunch of them just inside the inlets right now. And then fish those live baits on a Carolina rig with a light wire circle hook. These small live baits are excellent for those bigger mingos. Look for them on a natural or artificial bottom in 9+ feet of water. In addition to the mingos, you're going to expect to catch some white snappers as well as catch and release a bunch of red snappers and triggerfish. And then finally offshore, deep dropping is really getting popular in the Panhandle for anglers wanting to bring home some fish to eat, and tilefish should be on your radar. Unlike deepwater grouper and snapper fishing, which are more structure-oriented, tilefish are pretty much going to hang out on that featureless mud bottom. So all you need to do is look for that right depth, 900 to 1,100 feet. If you have a decent drift where you can cover some bottom, you're going to catch some fish. Use 6 to 8 hook deep drop rigs baited with cut bait. Have a light source on top of the rig and make sure your weight is dragging the bottom. Bonita or live or ladyfish chunks make a good bait. But if you want to just buy some bait, without catching them, go to the store, look for those, it's the squid baits. They're from the Pacific. They're really thick cuts. Those make great baits. Tilefish can run up to about 15 pounds and are excellent eating.
Hey, quick question, Pat. You got this approaching storm, going to dump a lot of fresh water up in your neck of the woods. Is it going to affect those redfish around the bridge pylons, or are they going to move out to the end of the jetty? What are they going to do?
I don't think it's going to affect them, Rick. I think the bait's there. It really depends on how much wind we have.
All right, Bub, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Eddy Panhandle region. Inshore, 3 Mile Bridge, Mid-Bay Bridge, and Hathaway Bridge for bull redfish around the pylons. And then offshore, use big baits to catch big amberjacks on the deeper wrecks. The A134 pounder was weighed in this past week.
We can
I thought he
read.
was telling, no,
We
but I
can
thought he
read.
was telling me a secret spot. A134, go check that
A134,
wreck out.
10-4.
See, that's
Over
some
and out.
secret code stuff, Bree, you don't know
Okay.
about.
Apparently I don't. All right, well, the Strike Zone Northeast region is now up, and Captain Tommy Derringer is giving us some weekend intel. What's going on, Tommy? 10-4.
Hey guys, you know what? The Strike Zone Northeast region, it's probably not really well known for snook fishing, but we've had an awesome summer of snook fishing here throughout the region. After the really mild winters we've had as of late, the snook have been thriving in my region with some of the biggest snook I've seen around in a long, long time. Now, the more consistent snook fishing is going on in the south end of the region, from Palm Coast down to Daytona. Now, I've had some great reports coming in from the Flagler Beach and Tomoka areas as well. Those snook in those areas are up shallow, chasing the shrimp in the small creeks and canals first thing in the morning. It's a great time to toss a topwater plug early, and then again at dusk. And then I'll switch over to Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner. I really like that pearl color for the snook during the day when the sun's a little higher. And if lures, they're not your thing, then a large free-line live shrimp is going to work as well. Now, the nighttime snook fishing has been great as well from Palm Coast all the way down to Ponce Inlet. Now, you can target the lighted docks and bridges when the tide's moving. It doesn't matter if it's coming in or out. Use a diving plug like a Rapala X-Wrap or a live shrimp or a finger mullet. Now, there's a lot of smaller snook under the lights, but there's some big bruisers in there as well, especially around some of the bigger bridges. Now, there's also a good snook population in Jacksonville and St. Augustine. There's some key creeks I like to hang out in, Pablo Creek, San Sebastian, and Pellicer Creek. Those are a few of them. They're going to hold snook, but there's also quite a few freshwater lakes and golf course ponds that hold those snook as well. Now, there's been quite a few snook caught at the St. Augustine and Matanzas inlets this summer, too. Look for some bigger snook to show up at those inlets during the mullet run as the summer goes on and into the early fall. And I've got a picture. My good buddy Carlos Garcia sent me this picture of Ray Dossie with a nice Palm Coast snook he caught on a topwater plug. Now, staying inshore, we've had an awesome redfish bite happening this week. There's a ton of small finger mullet on the flats and on the edges of the ICW. Those redfish are chasing the mullet on the early morning low water, and a topwater plug has been a great choice around those schools of mullet. Now, we also have a big flood tide this weekend heading into next week, which might be a little sketchy with that approaching storm, but these late summer flood tides can be really good as there's a bunch of crabs up in the grass, and in turn, the redfish are going to be up in there too. A weedless rigged soft plastic like a Saltwater Assassin Lil Boss paddle tail in that golden brim color, that's going to be my go-to when I'm up in the flooded grass. Just make sure to get to your favorite flat a little early, as that tide's been pumping in really quick, and it's going to be even quicker if we get some high winds. Now, we also have those big oversized redfish hanging out at the inlets. And if you're not on the flats, that midday slack high tide is going to be a great time to set up at any of the inlets with a cut mullet, crab, or a ladyfish on the bottom. Now, the bull reds are also hanging on some of the nearshore reefs, like the pier barge in St. Augustine. I've got one of my favorite all-time redfish pictures here.
Oh.
This is my 3-year-old daughter, Easton, with her biggest redfish yet that we caught last weekend. And Bree, now I've got 2 of them that are coming for your job.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, Tommy.
I'm scared.
Tommy, can I just have her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
He said yes. He's
Just-
got 3. So,
I
yeah,
mean,
you can have one of them.
Mama, we're going to finally have a girl. It's going to be awesome.
She got you with that redfish, didn't she? Oh, nuts.
that blonde hair and the big smile is what got me, kind of like you, Bree.
Oh, wow, thanks. Okay, Tommy, back to you.
All right, offshore, Tommy, let's go. We were losing control here.
I thought I would do something a little different this week and do more of a forecast for my first offshore species. Now, I spoke with our resident sailfish expert, Captain Jason Hadges from jxfishingcharters.com. He tells me he's really looking forward here to the next week, to the next month or so, as those sailfish are going to start to show up in the 21 to 23 fathom area. Jason said as soon as it gets just a little bit cooler, those sailfish are going to be making their way south. And he said there's a ton of bait around this year, so he really thinks they're going to stick around for a while once they do show up. Now, he likes to troll a naked ballyhoo, but you can sweeten it up a little bit with the Boone Sea Witch in a variety of different colors. Now, guys, if you're looking to catch a sailfish, I would book a trip soon. And if you just need to gear up, it's a great time to stop by Strike Zone. Those guys in the shop have got everything you need, and they'll get you set up. Now, staying offshore, the kingfish bite continues to be strong again this week, especially on the nearshore reefs out of St. Augustine. Captain Jason from the J-Hook told me he's been getting easy limits this week, trolling both live and dead baits around the 9-mile reef and some around the 4-mile reef as well. With the new moon that's coming up this week, there should be some big fish to push in along the beaches too. And I've got one last picture here. Captain Rob Bennett from coastalfish.net sent me this picture of the McAvoy family with some nice nearshore caught kingfish.
Looking good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspots from the Northeast region. He says inshore redfish in the flooded grass throughout the region. Look for the areas holding concentrations of fiddlers and oyster crabs. And then offshore kingfish on the nearshore reefs from Jacksonville to Flagler Beach.
All right, coming up next, we're checking in with our Bell Central East region to see how the fishing looks for the weekend, so don't move a muscle. We'll be right back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Suffix, always use the best line. The IGFA, Fish for the World. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. And Bell's, everything you need to live life local.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Life out here tastes sweeter with the freedom to roam at 40 miles per hour. The power to haul whatever needs hauling. And best-in-class acceleration and handling with cargo. The new gas-powered Kubota Sidekick is the first of its kind. Purpose-built for speed, fun, and to get the job done right.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com.
Are you tired of fighting foul odors in your car? The easy-to-use Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright uses the power of chlorine dioxide to eliminate even the worst smells. From cigarettes and pets to fast food and sweaty kids, this EPA-registered chlorine dioxide technology fights the odor-causing bacteria, the source of the stink. Don't just cover it up. Eliminate it with the Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Today's Power Pole Tip of the Week, we're going to discuss catching bait with the help of my power poles. I have a couple different styles of bait catching, and both of them my power poles assist me. First, on the grass flats in the bay, I'll use my power poles to stop the boat and keep it from pivoting. Then I'll begin to chum in front of my boat to bring the pilchards to the bow along with some pinfish. I'll throw my cast net a few times, bag my pilchards, put them in my live well, and go run my charter. My second method is what we call rodeo style, and we'll ride up and down the beach on the trolling motor looking for the pilchards, running down the beach, and I'm talking in 1 foot, 2 foot of water right along the beach. Once I've seen them, I'll throw the cast net on them. Using my foot switch, I'll lower the power poles, stopping the boat, bag the pilchards, put them in the live well. And that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
That's your power pole tip from Jeff Page right there.
Guess what? I lost Jim. I pushed a button and messed it up. Let me see if I can find you. There you are. How about that?
There you are. Good job, Rick. Technology. All right, we've got Jim Ross from the Central East region finally on
Sorry,
FaceTime.
Jimmy.
What's going on, Jimmy?
It's all good, guys. It's all good. You know, we're battening down the hatches. We're getting prepared because this storm looks like it's going to come our way. But I'll tell you, our snook season's getting ready to open on Sunday, and if our preliminary catches are any indication as to what we're going to do for the next couple of months, it is going to be an absolutely fantastic season opener once this storm blows on by. So we're really looking forward to it. Right now, live baits are doing best during the daytime at all 3 of our inlets, and at night, large Rapala X-Raps lures or any of those swim baits like the Saltwater Assassin 5 or 6-inch swim baits are working really well when you put them on a big jig head with a 7-aught or 8-aught hook. Now, you want to fish the catwalks and the inlet jetties. That's where you're going to find those fish hanging out for the most part. The mullet run started. It actually started, so we are so excited about that as well. The fall migration is working southward along the beaches, and I saw thousands and thousands of fingerling mullet this week coming down the beach. So we're, as we get closer to that full moon phase on the next month, it's going to peak, I believe. But this storm that we have coming is really going to get those fish fired up. So right after the storm, if you guys are, safe, got everything uncluttered around the house, get out to those beaches because it's going to be fantastic. Now, I've got some photos here. The first one is of a nice couple of fish that we got down at Sebastian Inlet here recently. Like I said, these are closed season fish. And then the other day I was also fishing Canaveral, and Canaveral's got plenty of them as well. I had Dave Paul out, him and his buddy Steve, and we got some nice snook out of Canaveral the other day.
Cool.
Now, staying inshore, black drum numbers seem to be pretty good right now. Most of the guys that I've been talking to, because I haven't been doing a lot of river fishing this summer, but Troy Perez and Captain Travis Tanner, some of the other guys are telling me that the Mosquito Lagoon has some fish in it. And then also the Northern Indian River around Titusville seems to be having a lot of black drum right now. Now, they're not just hanging around structure like bridges and the Haulover Canal and rocky areas. They're actually roaming around the Spoil Islands. You can find them out on the flats tailing. So, live shrimp seems to be the best thing to use on a little, like a hookup style jig head or one of those short shank hooked jigs without any kind of a tail on it. You just put the shrimp on there, cast it into the black drum, and bounce it in front of them. Most of the fish on the flats right now are running about 5 to 8 pounds. Some of those fish, though, are running up into the 25 and 30 pound class when you get right next to the ICW channel. Also, the causeways from Melbourne to Cocoa have been pretty good right now. Live shrimp seems to be working best there, or a blue crab or a half of a crab on a 6-aught to 9-aught size VMC circle hook. And I've got another photo here for you guys and gals of one of those nice Mosquito Lagoon redfish that we caught about a week ago up around the Indian Mound area up in the Mosquito Lagoon.
Nice.
Now, swinging offshore, king mackerel bite's still pretty strong right now. 70 to 90 foot reefs that's the best place to find them throughout the whole Bell Central East region right now. The Rapala CD14s and CD18s or the Williamson Speed Pros seem to be working good if you guys don't want to get live baits. If you do want to get live baits, a pogie, a mullet, or a greenie, if you're getting live baits, or a frozen cigar minnow, troll them on a wire stinger rig. They're all working pretty well right now. If you're up against the beaches, now that the mullet run has started, get some of those mullet and slow troll them. Our king mackerel right now are averaging about 12 to 20 pounds, but some of those fish on the beach, like one that Captain Richard Bradley from Laguna Fishing Charters had 2 days ago, were up into the 40-pound class. So there's still some bruisers swimming around out there. Last but not least, we've got sharks. New Smyrna is dubbed the shark bite capital of Florida and probably the shark bite capital of the eastern United States. Not something they necessarily want to promote for their tourism, but if you're a shark fisherman, guess what? It's ground zero. You need to get there because there's some really good sharks there right now. Black tips, fine tooth spinners, hammerheads, all of them have been caught from Sebastian, Canaveral, and especially up at Ponce this week. And, if you get a little farther offshore, the bulls and sandbars are doing pretty good as well. So if you can get out there, the bulls typically are going to be 150 to 200 pounds. Those other fish are going to be anywhere from roughly 20 to about 100 pounds when you're looking at those fine tooths and spinners and sandbars.
All right, dude, we got to go. Thank you so much. Great report. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week. We're going to go take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. He says inshore speckled trout in the Mosquito Lagoon. Use Rapala skitterwalk plugs at dawn near the schools of mullet and drunk monkey or golden brim colored assassin sea shads during the day. And then offshore, shark along the beaches. Use live menhaden or mullet on the bottom, rigged with a 270-pound cable leader and large VMC heavy-duty circle hooks. You know, I use that 270-pound steel leader when Colin's home to fasten up the refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
And I'm sure it works.
It
works
does
real well.
It goes right through that cable. Like
gorilla. Okay, Floridians, we've hopefully prepped you for a fish catching, weather permitting, holiday weekend, but stay with us because we're telling you what to be on the lookout for next week right here on the Florida
Insider
Fishing
Report.
Oh, we got this down.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper to bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
For the bass that thinks it's a bulldog. For the walleye that thinks it's a freight train. For the tuna that thinks it's a torpedo. For the tarpon that thinks it's a tarpon. You need the mono that thinks it's a braid. Suffix Advance. New Advanced Mono with HMPE braid molecules for strength, abrasion resistance, and low stretch. Suffix Advance. The mono that thinks it's a braid.
Be sane. Don't fritter away your time. Create. Act. Take a place wherever you are. And be somebody. Get action.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking triple tail. We've got the Houston family right here, Rick.
Absolutely.
This is one big happy family.
3 generations. You got Papa Houston, Ron and Chris, and then we have Cody and Courtney.
What's he all saying? What's he all saying?
What is it?
Taking kids
Thank you guys
fishing.
for tuning in. Have a safe holiday weekend, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys. Hey, guys, if you like what you saw
and you want to see more, make sure to click the subscribe button below.